Tonight on New Hampshire Crossroads, we attend a recital of poems put to music by Celia Thaxter and friends back in the 19th century. Hi, I'm Fritz Weatherby, and this is New Hampshire Crossroads.
New Hampshire Crossroads is underwritten in part by First NH Bank, serving the financial needs of individuals, corporations, and local governments throughout New Hampshire. Clarion Somerset Hotel and Apartments of Nashua, New Hampshire, where we make living fun. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Hampshire, for over 50 years dedicated to providing quality health benefit protection programs for employers, employees, and individuals. And Anna Lee Dolls, made only in Meredith, New Hampshire, with gift shop locations in Meredith, North Conway, and worldwide.
Today we're beside the College Woods on the University of New Hampshire campus, out behind the Channel 11 studios. It is a beautiful September day, and the sound of the wind in the trees and the crickets and the birds just makes beautiful music, which is what our first story on Crossroads is about tonight. Beautiful music and a man who makes it. His name is Chip Kaufman, and he is a bassoonist and an organist, and he is the artistic music director at the Kittery Point Congregational Church, and you are about to make his acquaintance. Chip Kaufman had this desire. See, he wanted to play music written in Maine by Maine composers. And so he went looking. He searched the records in the Portland Library. He talked to other researchers looking for old songs. And he went out to the Isles of Shoals to search through the records at the Vaughan Museum. And there, he found stacks of boxes.
Lo and behold, there, for me, were a large number of very interesting old manuscripts of what I call Victorian art songs. It was a really well-developed form. It was made acceptable by composers like Schumann and Schubert and Brahms, and in fact, up into our day, it's one of the first composition assignments to a composition student at a university or conservatory is to take someone's poem and make a song out of it. Now, this I was quite attracted to because it has this nice little sort of gold ribbon which was tied together on the 9th of March, 1885. It's been tied ever since, and, by a woman by the name of Margaret Ruthven Lang. In doing a little, it's very, very carefully done manuscript of a song called "I Wore Your Roses Yesterday." Found out later she was 18 years old when she did this, when she copied this out, wrote the song. In 1885, she went on to live to be 102 or 103 and died in 1971, having composed profusely orchestral pieces and songs. She stopped, however, composing in 1930 and never touched it again for whatever reason.
Margaret Ruthven Lang's "Wore Your Roses Yesterday" was just one of the many songs part of the collection from Celia's parlor. There was a string quintet in B-flat major by Edward Heimdall, a summer madrigal by Arthur P. Schmidt, and kind regards from the composer Clara Rogers to Celia Thaxter. It was Celia's poetry the composers used. They stayed up all night playing and singing. John Knowles Paine and Julius Eichberg, both popular composers in the 1800s, played there. But all of this music and poetry had been packed away for years, 100 years or more, since 1893. And for 100 years, no one listened to the music. No one heard the notes or the words. And in fact, we forgot how to listen to the art song.
As modern readers, if we're not willing to go into the poet's world and actually experience those things as it was proper in her time or accepted in her time, then we miss the validity of it. And in fact, it will probably fall flat on us. What I do sense through the years is actually a sort of inspiration that comes from reading about her life and reading about these other artists performing this music, actually feeling inspired to do more myself, things that I wouldn't have done. The concert we're doing with the Maine Composers Forum, where we've commissioned new works to Celia Thaxter text. Well, that comes out of that same sense of excitement about trying to create new works of art that I got as I was reading about what was going on out here.
Chip did commission new works to be performed by the Maine Composers Forum, which is a group of musicians from around New England, and they played at Chip's church, the South Congregational Church in Kennebunkport, Maine. All of the composers took Chip at his word. They wrote songs, and they came to hear the music played and the words sung.
We don't see that in our, in the age of television and computers and so forth. We don't think in the same way. We don't have to entertain ourselves through poetry readings or through gathering around the piano and going through various songs. So these really represent all of these songs represent a different way of life that has vanished.